And we're on day 3 of our previews, and today we have a really cute set called Easter Critters, and this was drawn by Roberto, and it has the dog and the cat. Roberto has also drawn for us 2 other critter sets, the Lovey Critters, which was our Valentine's one released in January, and Cozy Critters, which was the cat and the dog getting all ready for snowy, cool, fun stuff. I went ahead and prepped the stamps off camera, and what I did is I took a pencil eraser and ran it around the edges of the images to get off any chemicals from the manufacturing process, and then I wiped that off with a baby wipe. And then I went ahead and stamped it with Memento Tuxedo Black ink using the Misty Stamper. And then I'm just going to go ahead and color them with some Copic markers. Now I wanted these guys to be an easy coloring. I didn't want to do any flicking on this card. I just wanted to mainly get down some color and then do some shadowing on them. With the kitty, I went with gray colors and I used the neutrals for him, and I used N3 and N5. And then for his little eye patches, or the patches around his eyes, I went with some N1. And then for his little inside his ears and his belly, I went with some ROs. So I'm just doing a little shade, did a little shading on around that eye. So just the ROOO, so 4 O's, and then ROO to add a little shading to that. And I also did that for his nose too. And then for his little tag, since it's purple, I wanted his ears to match. So I picked out V12 and V15 to do the ears and the little eggs in his basket. And then I shadowed it with a little bit of V15. I didn't want this to be lots of shadowing in it. I wanted it to be pretty quick, because maybe you want to mass produce some tags for Easter to put on the little Easter baskets for your kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews or whatnot. And then for his little basket, I just used some YRs. I wanted it to be a little bit of a yellow tone to it, not so dark of a brown color. And then for the puppy, I'm just doing him in some E11 and E13. Like I said, I didn't want to do a lot of shadowing on this or flicking of colors or whatnot. I wanted it to be just kind of a basic blending. There isn't actually much of him to color on this image because he's wearing his little bunny outfit. So it's just his face and then his little feet sticking out. So I'm going in with the E11 to blend out the E13, and then I used E17 just for the little nose. And then I used B23 for the base of his little outfit. I actually wanted to use B21, but my pen is almost out of ink and it's not working very well because the B21 would have matched the little tag better, but that's okay. He still turned out really pretty cute. So I used B23 and B24, which I don't use very often. These are not my go-to colors that I usually go or grab. For my Bs, I usually use the BOO, BO2 combo, or the B and nines make for really good jeans. So for his little bunny tail, I just used the N1 and I just went around the little edges and add little dots just to give it a little bit of 3D look to him. And then for his little carrot, it's just YRO2 and YRO7. And so I just go ahead and blend that out a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and get his little topper on the carrot, which I used YG21 and YG23. And I'm sorry about the shadowing in this. My window is right behind me, and the sun, when I did this video, it was first thing in the morning, and so the sun was coming in the window, and I didn't realize it would affect this so much. So I should have closed my blinds, but I didn't. So sorry that it keeps kind of getting like yellowy toned and then it goes back to being bright. So I used my white pen to add highlights to these little guys. And I really like how, when you use that white pen, it really does pop your little image out a little bit, maybe a little bit more cartoony of a look than it did before. So I added a bunch of little white to him, his carrot. I did the little kitty. I did the eggs in her little basket. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut these guys out. But first, I'm going to make templates to make sure that when I do cut them out, they're lined up just right. So I'm going to show you how I make the template. I grabbed a piece of scrap paper and I take my dies and I go ahead and I cut them out on the scrap paper. Now, as you saw in the video, I was able to actually just fold this die back and forth to disconnect them from each other. Some of our dies, you are able to do that. Some of them have too many little segmented sections that you need to use snippers to cut them apart. When you are using the little template to cut just right, you need to make sure you use tape because the die will slide on you, the paper will slide on you, and whatnot. So I got my little guys cut out. Now, for some reason, my camera ended up stopped filming right after I had cut them out. So I went ahead and came back on, restarted filming with them after I had finished them. So I cut them out with the layering tag die. I used the biggest one for the cardstock that's colored and then the next size down for the white. And then I went ahead and used some oxide ink to ink the edges of the white cardstock. And then I used some foam tape to pop up the little critters. And as you can see, I turn it here. So just a little bit to give it a little bit of 3D look. And then I went ahead and I took darker colored cardstock and I cut a strip and I used the sentiment from the set, Easter wishes for my little bunny, and stamped it on the cardstock. And then I glued that on. I added some enamel dots that I had sitting around just to add a little extra to the card. And then I used a hole punch to punch a hole in the top. And then you could take ribbon and then attach these to the little baskets or whatnot. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.